Hello and welcome to another video. In this video we're going to be working on implement queue using stacks. And in the problem you're asked to implement a FIFO queue using two stacks. The implementing queue should support all functions of a queue: push, peek, pop, and empty. So push pushes to the back, pop removes from the front, peek gets the element at the front, and empty checks if it's empty. And you can only use stack operations, so you can't use queue operations, and yeah. And to use stack operations, we can just use basic array operations. So we can append, we can pop, and we can check like the length. And we basically, so really like, let's just go over like what a queue can do, right? So a queue pops from front, which we can't do on a stack. A queue can push to the back. So this one we can do on the stack, right? We can just use a basic call. And we can also get peek from the queue, which gives you the first element. And so we're not allowed to use this either. I think we have to make this ourselves. So yeah, because it says peek returns element at the front, so I'm assuming you can only get the element at the top in a stack. So these are the two we have to make. And there's kind of two ways of making this. We can either make the push ov1 and make the pop ovn, or the other way around, right? Because let's say we have like a normal stack. Like let's say we have some numbers that we put in, like 1, 2, 3, 4 in that order, and we maintain it like this. Well, to do a pop, we need to pop this element. So to pop this, since we can't pop from the end, we would basically have to pop like all of these, put them somewhere, and then pop this, which is going to be ovn. So we could do that. Now the alternative, and this is what I'm going to do, is we can store everything backwards. So what's going to happen here is, and I'll kind of demonstrate this. So let's demonstrate putting 1, 2, 3, 4 on our stack. And we're going to use two stacks. So we'll have one stack that will have our info and the other stack that will just move stuff around. So if we try to put in 1, we just try to put in 1 because it's empty. Then when we try to put in 2, remember we can only put things in at the back, but we want this to be backwards. So what we're going to do is every time we put in an element, we're going to take every element from our first stack, get rid of it, and put it on the second stack. Then we can put in our element, and then we can put everything in behind it. So what's going to happen here is we're going to take this 1, we're going to pop it, push it in here, push 2 in here, then pop the 1 and put it in here. So now we have like a reverse stack, and then we can easily just pop from the end, and that would be like popping from the front of the queue. So we're basically just going to maintain our items in reverse order, which will allow us to pop from the end. So let's keep going with this example. So let's say we try to push 3 onto the stack. So if we try to push 3 on, we are going to pop. Remember, we can only pop from the end. So we're going to pop 1, put it here. We're going to pop 2, put it here. Get rid of all this. Now we can push in 3. And then once we push in 3, then we can do with other stuff. So we push in 3 over here. Then we pop 2, put it here. So 2, and then we pop 1, put it here. 1. And now we have our backwards stack. Finally, for 4, if we try to push it in 4, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to pop and push over here. Then we're going to pop and push over here, right? Just basic stack operations. And then we're going to pop and push over here. Then once we do that, we can put in 4. So we're going to put in 4 right in here. And then we're going to put these in backwards, right? So we're going to pop 3, put it here. Then we're going to pop 2, put it here, pop 1, put it here. And so essentially we're using our extra stack to move elements around, and all our data will be on one stack. And now, so remember 1 is the first element we put in. So if we wanted to get like the element at the end, we're allowed to do that with just a stack lookup at the very last element. And we can do a normal stack pop now. So the basic idea is, instead of storing our items in normal order, we'll store in reverse order. Then popping from the back would be identical to popping from the front of our queue. And so that's basically what we have to do. So yeah, so they kind of have an example here, but this is essentially what we're doing. We're going to be storing our items backwards. Now the other alternative is, like I said, you store them forwards, and then to pop, like let's say you wanted to pop these, you would just be like, okay, well I need to pop 1, but I can't because it's at the front, so I'm going to pop off all of these first, put this on this queue, or on this stack. So I'd pop off 4, 3, 2, then I have a 1 left. Now I can pop it, and then I will put all these things back, right? So 2, 3, 4. So those are kind of like the two ways you can do it. You can either maintain a backwards maintain a backward stack, and then you can pop from the end, or you can maintain your items in the right order, but then for every pop, you just have to pop up everything else, then get the item over here, then put it all back. Either one's fine. So we're going to code up the one that I said with the data in reverse order. So let's do that. So it's full screen. Oops. Okay. So we're going to have a init. So like I said, we're going to have two stacks. So we'll have our first stack for the data and our second stack for the just operations. So we'll have self first stack, just a basic array, self second stack, another basic array. So now remember, for push, we need to take everything from first, pop it off backwards, and then put it onto the second element. So we're going to say while self.first has elements, we are going to append to self.second the item that was pushed off of self.first. So then that's just like this picture down here, or that I had before, right? So if we have this, let's say we have 2, 3, 4, we're putting on a 5. While this exists, we're gonna pop from here, put on here, pop from here, put on here, pop from here, put on here. Then we put on the 5, then we pop everything from here again and put it back. So we're gonna do this. Now we're gonna append, now first is empty, so now we're gonna append the current item that we have. So self.first.append x. Then we do the same thing for the second one. So we can just copy this code and do the exact same thing. And this will give us our items in reverse order. So self.first now, and self.second. Okay, so now these operations are really easy because since our items in reverse order, we can just pop off the end like a normal stack. So we can just say return self.first.pop. And they did tell the constraints that they're never going to call pop or peek with invalid argument size. So you're never going to ask to pop with like an array of size 0 or something. So you don't have to check for valid length. So this is going to be basically the same thing, except now instead of popping, we can just look at the last element, and we are able to do that with a stack. We are allowed to look at the last element. So you just do this, and then isEmpty is also allowed. So we can just say return length of self.first equals 0, right? So if it's empty, that means the length of self first is 0. And yeah, that should be it. So let's submit it. So there we go, pretty good. So like I said, let's go through the time and space for all of these really quick. So for the init, it's O of 1, so we can ignore that one. But basically, this push is O of n, and then pop and peek and empty are O of 1. So O of 1 for the rest. Alternatively, you can make push O of 1, and then these will be O of n. So either one. Space is just going to be O of however many items we have on the stack, right? Because we have our stack. So however many items we're doing. So if we're doing like however many items we're inserting here. Yeah. And yeah, going to be all for this one. So you can do the same thing with the queue, or with stack using queues. Really just draw them out and figure out like, okay, if I try to put on items, how do they need to look to do these operations? And then it's pretty easy. So just like for these kinds of problems, just draw out your stacks and your queues and figure out like, how do I want to do this? These are the operations I can have. And then just try some stuff out until it works. It's like pretty intuitive. Yeah, so that's going to be all for this one. So hopefully you like this one. And if you did, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.